Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bartelle's Money Talk. I'm Johnny.
And I am Teresa. And today you have got to stay for this episode. We have Mr. Noel Walrond, who is a real estate investor in the Dominican Republic. Don't leave because you have got to hear what he got to say. So, Mr. Noel, can you please introduce yourself to the audience for us?
Absolutely, and it's an honor to be here. My name is again Noel Walrond. I am a real estate developer, investor, and performance coach. I teach people how to monetize their passions, beat procrastination, increase their income, to take their business to the next level. And one of the key things, and after not just making your money, you have to know how to keep it, and then how to take what you have that you keep, have it working harder for you. And so I am a big proponent of teaching people how to create intergenerational wealth, and doing it by example. So it was real pleasure to meet you all. I'm from Canada. I'm from Toronto, and a little town called Brampton on the north portion, just north of the city of Toronto. And my roots are Trinidad and Guyana. So my mother's from Trinidad, my dad's from Guyana. So I've got those Caribbean roots. But I am right now living here in the Dominican Republic. So in the north coast, an area close to Cabarete, on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. So it's a real pleasure and an honor to be here.
Well, how long have you been in the Dominican Republic?
I came in for the first time just under 3 years ago for the first time. And it was interesting because this was my first experience being, let me put this on silent. This was my first experience being in a Spanish-speaking context. Because in Canada, we have more French speaking, you know what I mean? And so it's not like, y'all in the States where you have more of the Hispanic, because I guess the second language in the States is Spanish. So here outside of a 2-week trip that I had to Cancun many moons ago, I haven't been exposed to the Latin Caribbean experience. So it's been eye-opening experience, and it's been a great experience. Learned a lot, made a lot of great connections, made a lot of new friends, and we're making a lot of money. So it's a nice little combination
of a lot of money. Okay.
That's what we like to talk about, making a lot of money. So since you open that up, can you kind of tell us what are some of the things that you do to make all of this money?
Well, the largest thing really is the real estate investing. Just to give you a bit of a backtrack of how we got here, you know what I mean, which will sort of feed into that whole concept. When COVID broke loose, and my government in Canada was Mr. Trudeau was extremely heavy-handed, to say the least, in terms of the way that it was managed. And as a result of that heavy-handedness, I decided that I was going to leave. I didn't want to. Well, one, I didn't want to do lockdowns in Canada in the cold. Like in Toronto. Toronto's an amazing city. It's great. It'll always be home. But the idea of having all these lockdowns, and I said, if I'm gonna do lockdowns, I want to do it in tropical weather. So I left. And I was in Jamaica, and I was supposed to spend 3 months, and we ended up being 6 months. And because our government blocked all travel from South America and the Caribbean to come back to Canada, all the flights were blocked. And so, which wasn't a bad thing, and it gave me an extra 3 months. But one the key things it did, it opened my mind and my eyes to the idea that I could actually live somewhere other than in North America. Because my game plan prior to COVID, with my speaking and coaching and in my training, I had been offered to speak on some stages where Tony Robbins and Les Brown and them were going to be speaking, and I was going to be put on the circuit. They had asked me to create an online training program, because all of my programs have been face-to-face, right? And I guess, with my and I learned a lot from my first mentor, Bob Proctor, in the world of coaching and development. And so my intention was to be traveling throughout the southern United States, and I was going to go and get my visa, and I was going to live in the southern United States. It was between Atlanta Florida, and Texas, Houston, Texas, because those are my three favorite spots. I love the South. So that was the plan. And then when COVID happened, obviously the convention business was completely shut down, right? It was done. And it was like, oh, had this big plan. And then things changed. So when I went to Jamaica, and I normally would never have stayed in the Caribbean for more than a month. After a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Time to go home. You know what I mean? And so I never even, the idea of living somewhere outside of North America hadn't dawned on me. But another thing that happened while I was there in Jamaica, which I'll speed it up to get to how we got here. But I started to look at the real estate down there, and I remembered there were some people. We had this event in Toronto called First Fridays, where the Black business community comes together first Friday of every month to share what's going on and new things that are coming and all of that. And there was a delegation that had come from Jamaica about 9 years prior, and they said, buy in Jamaica, Jamaica's a good. And in my mind, I was sort of thinking, I'm in a first world country. Why on earth would I consider and entertain being in a so-called third world country? You know what I mean? Or developing country. It was a bad attitude to have, and one that ended up costing me a lot of money because at that time when those guys had come, real estate prices were at about 50 grand, 60 grand, 70 grand for these condos, right? Like this, that when I was in Jamaica and I saw the same properties, they were going for 200, 225, 250. Yeah, like this. Yeah. So you could have got 3 properties for the price of 1. 3. Like this. And I was looking at this, and that's not including cash flow. That's just, that's not including Airbnb and short-term rentals. So I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So ignorance is not bliss, it's expensive. And so one of the things that I learned from that was I will never just say no. I'll go and investigate and see. And this is the first lesson I'm giving to your viewers is you've got to get out of this mindset of only in my backyard, because there's a world that's going on around you and you're losing out on great opportunities where there's some greater value that's being offered in many different countries throughout the world, Dominican Republic being one of them. Yes. And so it's something where the banks are international. They don't care about borders. You know what I mean? Like this, but sometimes we, in our mindsets, well, if it's not in the United States, or if it's not in Canada, if it's not in my city, and I really got to be close to my investment, but that's not how banks think. That's not how international investors think. And those are people who are making the real money, like real money. So that was my first wake-up call. So I left Jamaica and I went over to the US because, I couldn't stay beyond 6 months there. It wouldn't have been legal beyond that. So I was in the US. As a Canadian citizen, I can spend 6 months, up to 6 months in the United States. So I was in Florida, and Florida just got my attention because even though COVID was still happening, it felt like it wasn't, because you could do what you wanted to do. You know what I mean? Largely speaking. And so I was like, oh my God, talk to me. This is great. You know what I mean? So I was loving Florida. This is Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood area, Miami, but more Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood, right? And so I'm there, and I made a decision to liquidate all my properties in Canada because I saw, there's a lot of money printing happening with the central banks in Canada as well as in the United States. That printing machine went over on an overdrive during COVID. And I follow a lot of financial titans in the industry, and I like to get differing opinions. So like this, like Dollar Bridge Atlante, Jeff Berwick and them, and they were very deep. And then you've got Cardone would be on another side of it. Robert Kiyosaki would be on another side of it. I'm listening to all of them because I want to understand where they're coming from. Then I go and research what they say, and then I arrive at my own conclusion about what makes sense to me. Oh, and Peter Schiff was the other name I was thinking of, because he's the gold guy, right? Like this. And so I looked into crypto guys, real estate guys, gold and silver guys. I'm listening because I want to understand their perspectives, right? So I made a decision. You know what? I'm going to sell all my properties. And people thought I was crazy. They told me, Noel, you've been listening to too much Alex Jones. I got a tinfoil hat for you. It's ready. And I said, it's not about conspiracy. It's about, if you have that much money being printed, they have to, at some point, the interest rates have to come up. And they're saying, no, but the central bank said that they weren't going to do it. I said, I don't care what they said. They have to. There's no choice. They're going to raise rates. And anyway, I'm not going to argue about it. I'm just going to do what I need to do. So I sold everything in Canada, all my property. And people told me I was nuts. And I got out just before rates started dropping in Canada, because they started dropping in Canada before they did in the United States. And I saw that I saw the market crash. I don't want to call it a crash because a market crash implies cycles. This wasn't a cycle. This was a government intervention. It had nothing to do with the market cycle because if the free market was allowed to do what it was going to do, we'd all be fine. And because under normal circumstances, if the market can do what it needs to do, I would never bet against Toronto. Toronto is fundamentally one of the best places in the world. Quality of life, standard of living, the financial situation for people, the immigration into the country. It's one of the best places in the world to invest. So I would, under normal circumstance, I wouldn't have bet against Canada. You know what I mean? But because it was clear that our representatives weren't representing the best interests of our country. Because when you see market value goes down, what that really means, it's theft of your equity. Because if you're a homeowner and you've watched your equity drop between 30 to 40%, 50%, that's money that you have banked and saved for. That's your money. And now, so when the price drops 20 or 30 or 40%, that means you no longer have access to that money. You can't build wealth and grow with it. And I was warning people. I have video of myself warning people about it a year and a half before it happened. I said, listen, if you're not tied to your house, sell. If you're not, and otherwise refinance and get your money out because capital controls are coming. Because when people start moving their money quick, they're going to start making it tougher for you to get access to your money. And so said, so done. Right. And so after I left that, I have all this cash I'm sitting on. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do now? And so then I saw the Grant Cardone flash across my screen. And normally, I'll be honest, Grant Cardone, to me, I've watched some of his online presentations. To me, they seem tacky. You know what I mean? And I told him this when I met him. You know what I mean? I think they're really tacky. But when you go to his seminar, far from tacky. This man is a machine. And he's not just talking theory. He's studying the market because they're acquiring deals every day. He's in it, and they have, so I joined his investment club because I wanted to understand and learn how to, I had never thought about buying apartment buildings. I thought about buying maybe a house, put a couple extra rooms in it, you know what I mean, and do that. And that's what I was thinking. He's showing us that it's possible to actually buy apartment buildings, 32 units, 60 units, 50 units, 100 units, and all. He's showing us that it's actually possible. I watched deals get funded there, and I was like, well, okay then. Clearly, I need to be quiet, pick up my notepad and pen, and write like a maniac because my God, Grant Cardone is a beast. When I say he's on top of his game, I'm not joking. He's for real. And I said to him during the VIP session, I said, Grant, why don't you show people this online? Because if you show people this, there'll be a lineup around the building. You come across as this kind of bombastic kind of cat, whatever, who doesn't have a lot upstairs. That was from my perspective, you know what I mean? But I was looking for answers. And so I said, for a couple $100, let me go check it out. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that I did. So we were looking at properties. I joined an investment group. We started looking at buildings throughout the United States between Florida, Arizona, and Atlanta, Georgia. And then a buddy of mine gave me a call, and he said, because he was here in the Dominican Republic, and he says, bro, you got to come to the DR. You got to come. You got to see what's going on. Real estate's exploded. Now, I remembered that conversation I had with myself about, when I missed out on Jamaica. I said, you know what? I know nothing about this place. Worst case scenario, I'm going to have a nice vacation. What the heck? Let me just go. And let me go and see. So I came. Boy, oh boy. The market was on absolute fire. Prices lower than Jamaica, Costa Rica, Panama. The real estate prices here were extreme, still are, relative to the pricing in other places, extremely cheap. You're getting it between comparable real estate in Jamaica, you're getting between a 30 to 45% discount buying here. And so, but the hype was on, and I don't buy based on hype. I want to buy based on fundamentals because you don't want to be the one left holding the bag, right? So
that's right.
So I went to meet with the city. I met with the city of Puerto Plata and the city of Sosua Cabarete. And so I met with the urban city planners, and they pulled out the 10-year plans for the city, the road expansion plans, what's coming in, where the growth is, where we want to buy, where we're going to get the best value for our money. Then after seeing the plans, that's when I decided to pull the trigger. It took me 6 months to make that decision on the ground. You know what I mean? Talking with real estate agents, talking with business people here, talking with the people, business people to the person who's poor, doesn't know how they're going to pay the bill. I want to understand what's going on. You know what I mean? And then once I was clear about what was happening, I was like, okay, yeah. I told Henry, was my business partner. He's from Atlanta. I met him at Grant Cardone, and we became good friends. And he's now the CFO of our company W2Q. Beachfront condos here in the Dominican Republic. And so I told them, forget about the US, let's get down here because we're going to get way more bang for the buck here. And prices here will rival those of Florida inside of the next 10 to 15 years. So the idea is to buy low and sell high, right? You know, yes. And so that's why I'm here. And so now 2 years since we bought the land, and to the point where we just did groundbreaking a couple of weeks ago. So and we're on our way. The units have started to sell, which is great, and people are going to make a lot of money with us. So we're very happy.
Okay, so I guess based on my understanding, y'all bought a nice size lot or land, correct?
Yeah, we bought an acre on the beach. East Cabaret. It's beachfront and it's beautiful. The area that we've purchased in, there's a town called Cabarete on the North Coast. We are about 3 minutes east of the downtown core. We intentionally did not want to be downtown because it's noisy, man. And we want to be in a place where it's peaceful. We provide a shuttle service, so people, when they want to come in downtown, 3-minute drive, or they can walk, or they can get a moto, or whatever, rent a car, whatever people want to do. But bottom line is that we are the first 5-star development in East Cabarete, Dominican Republic, and so they have 5-star developments in the West. We're the first ones in the East, and the area that we've chosen, to purchase in, called Camino del Sol. That area is an area that's going through regentrification. So when we first came in there, because we saw abandoned hotels, because that used to be the hotspot for Cabarete about 30 years ago, like this. And then these very wealthy families came in and they started putting money into Punta Cana, like this. That's how most people know of the Dominican Republic now, by Punta Cana. It used to be Puerto Plata, you know what I mean? So Punta Cana was turned into a resort town. North Coast is not a resort town. They've got good hotels, and they've got incredible beach. So for me, my personal preference, the island is beautiful, but my personal preference is the North Coast, just because I think the beaches are far nicer. I like the mix of locals as well as internationals who live here, like expats, as well as the tourists that come through. It's a nice mixture, but it gives you the safety of, I don't know if you've ever been to Jamaica, but this place called Ocho Rios, super safe. So you can walk around any time of night in Ocho Rios. Same thing here. You know what I mean? It's super safe, as a place, which is very important to me.
Right.
Yes. So we're here and we're building it, and it's exciting. It's really, really exciting. And one of the things that I learned from Grant was that whenever you have a project, you always have to make certain that your pricing that you're offering leaves meat on the bone for the people who are investing with you, or people who are buying with you, because you want to make certain that they can make money. Because if they make money with you, then when you do something else, they're going to come back and they're going to continue to make money with you. My reason was part that, but the other part is I'm committed to helping people build intergenerational wealth. It's either money's going to be your slave, or you're going to be a slave to it. It's only one of two options, and we have to. And unfortunately, 90% of the population has never got it right, never, like this, in any era. And the truth is that 90% of the population has absolutely no clue. And I meet with people who have good jobs, nice people, but if you met somebody who was like 20 years old and they could not read or write, they were illiterate, you look at them and you'd be like, how is that possible? Right? Like this, you'd be looking at them funny. But somebody can be 60 years old and be financially illiterate, and that's okay.
Wow. I never thought about it that way.
Me either. But you're right.
That's true, though. I've never considered that.
And financial literacy is more important than being literate. Like, I mean, Floyd Mayweather can't read The Cat in the Hat, but he's worth $1 billion. He can't read. He's illiterate. 50 Cent challenged him. He said, read Cat in the Hat, and I'll give him X number of dollars to your favorite charity. Couldn't do it.
So, and who was that again?
Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Money Mayweather.
Oh, you would know who that is.
Okay. So, but he's money. You know what I mean?
He don't have to walk. He can get somebody to read.
Well, you don't want to be illiterate.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm like, he can get somebody to read for him.
Amen. Look, at the end of the day, financial literacy, there's a reason why it's not taught in schools, largely speaking. The educational system, which I'm a part of, the public education school system, is not designed to create the leaders of tomorrow. It's designed to create the working class. That's what it's designed to create. If it was designed to create leaders, you would have more of them. That's not what the function of it is. I know people, even myself, we offered to go into some schools, and not just myself, but even mentors of mine who offered to do it. And they had some of the young people coming out and making more money than their parents, and the school board shut it down. They're not interested in that. You need to understand that. You know what I mean? And the people who are in front of the classrooms teaching, ask them how much they know about it. You know what I mean? Like this, so you can't give what you don't know. You know what I mean? And even if you do want to do that, there are structures within the board that prevent that type of education. So if you want that, you have to go outside. Largely speaking, there are some districts where you'll have a progressive person here or there, but largely speaking, it's not what school is designed for. So and it just is what it is. So if you want it, you got to come to Money Talks. You know what I mean? You got to get it through alternative media. You know what I mean? Or alternative mediums.
Right. Well, I want to go back to your plan with this land. Like, what are you doing? You said it's 5-star. Is it going to be Airbnb, condos, hotel? What are you doing?
I should share my screen, shouldn't I? Should I share my screen?
Yeah, you can share it.
Okay.
That's absolutely. Fine. Let's see it.
All right. 1 second.
Yeah, let's get back.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Zoom, eh?
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to take that venture to come to the Dominican Republic to invest, and maybe they want to invest with you, how would they go about doing that?
Just reach out and connect with me. Make sure to let me know that you heard about it from Money Talk. And and we will offer fly-in by for you guys. But when people want to come down, visit, do a site visit, that's no problem at all. Wow. Come see us. So I'm going to show you the building as a whole. Un momento, por favor. See that I'm getting up on my Spanish.
Go. This is pretty.
This is nice. How many units are tied to this?
It's 38 luxury units. 38. Yes, we're gonna have. So what we're gonna have is an infinity pool on the beach, and we have a restaurant there on site. Right, a restaurant there on site, and it's 4 stories high. We've got 2 elevators, so it's fully accessible. 10-foot ceiling to floor windows, and the front here, these are the 3 bedrooms, and the 2 in the middles, and the one's closest to the parking lot. But the area that we're in is absolutely fantastic. For those people who want there's a promo video that we have here on the website. This is a little bit longer. This one is 12 minutes. I guess I could show you the one that I have a 1-minute version. But if you want to get this, I guess if you click on the link in the description for Money Talks, or you can feel free to give me a call on hit me on WhatsApp 647-308-6635. That's 647-308-6635. And again, message me with your first name, last name, best time to connect with you, and that you've found out about us from Money Talk. And I'd be happy to walk you through and send you the video. If you go to the website, w2qbeachfront.com, this is where you can see the 12-minute overview video. This is a really good piece because it really opens up your mind, and it shows you the comparison between investing in here and other places. It shows you the cash flow. Like we're expecting people to be generating anywhere between 8 to 12% per year on the cash flow side once the building is complete. But in between now and then, you're looking at. In fact, I can just pull it up 1 second here on the pricing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is. I'm like, this is beautiful. But okay, so Noel, just say we have a couple people who want to reach out to you, but they don't really need to waste your time. How much money do they have to even consider getting involved in a project such as this?
Okay, well, y'all are going to have some special pricing. So the pricing that's on the website, it's a little bit different than what they'll get from coming through you all. Just as an example, the 1 bedrooms start at 168. The price that they get it through you is 161. You know what I mean? And I will send them out a sales package where they can actually get see all of the details for the pricing. But it starts if they're getting it through you guys at 161, and it climbs depending on the floor, right? Just to put it in perspective, where can you? What city are you all in?
San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys have waterfront in San Antonio?
No.
No, okay. But if you were to go, say, to a Miami or to like anywhere on the Florida coast, on the East Coast, or if you went to California and you were on the water like this, where could you get a property for 726 square feet, starting even at 168? Impossible.
No place
on the water.
No
and
place.
two bedrooms are 1,200 square feet, and your price with you guys would be starting at 270. So like usually the down payment for a building in the United States, the down payment would be what people are paying for the full thing. You know what I mean? Like this, you're buying it outright cash. Now we do have financing for people in the States. We have a financing mechanism that people can get unsecured credit as long as your credit is good. As long as your credit is good. But just to give you an example in terms of overall returns. So this is based on a 1 bedroom. Now, in year 1, you're making 20%, year 2, 20%. And so this is what you're looking at just from a market value increase standpoint. And then when you go down to look at cash flows, we manage and run it for people. So in terms of Airbnbs, we run that centrally, so you don't have to worry about that, and it's all taken care of. So we manage and run it all for you. This walks down all of the expenses, and then so in terms of total fees, you have, and 70% that goes back to you. You know what I mean? The investor on cash flow. That's it, right? So this gives you a breakdown of the returns, and you're talking about in this particular instance, a cash on cash return of about 11%. Or 10, call it even 10%. So if you have cash flow of 10% per year and you have market value increase of 15% per year, that's 25% per year.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, like this, and and we believe that's conservative. And somebody once said to me, that sounds really aggressive. That sounds too good to be true. Tell that to the banks, because the banks make hundreds of percent on your money and give you what back return in terms of interest, 0.0 whatever on your money.
Right. So, 0 whatever some more.
Yes.
So you understand. So to me, it's like if you're serious about wanting to build wealth, you've got to become less conventional. And the truth is, in the United States right now, if you don't have the money to be able to do multifamily in a serious way, do something like this to get you back up. Or if you're in a situation where you've lost some money, some equity because of the market correction, like this. If you're down a little bit, well, come get it back. You can get it back inside of 2 years. Like this. Here. So now you're in a situation where you can. You're in a situation now where you can make up for losses of the past. Here. So to me, that's exciting. So. Are you guys frozen? Are we frozen? Okay, so let's just say, for example, somebody had purchased a property in the United States, and were one of those victims that lost or has taken a 30 or 40% hit on your equity, you can make it back, like this. You can, make that back here within 2 years, and put yourself in the winning column again. And one of the beautiful things about investing here is if you set up a Dominican, this is not tax advice or anything like that. Talk to your professional who knows what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. Disclaimers out the way. If you buy if you set up a corporation here and you are generating income into that corporation, the Dominican government doesn't report to any other governments.
Really?
You didn't hear me though. So yeah, yeah. So yeah.
That's a huge deal.
Oh, there's no two ways about it. And so, and they make it very easy to do business here. All you need is a passport, and if you're setting up a bank account, they just want to see proof that you actually have a bank account they want to see proof that you actually have a bank account in whatever country it is. Just get a bank manager signature saying, hey, verifying, or the stamp, whatever. And you bring that with you along with your passport, and a couple $1,000 put it into your account, and you're off to the races. So it's very simple here, very simple. And to establish credit here depends on the institution, of course. But if you have 10,000 in an account, now you can get secured that credit card. You know what I mean, which is backed by what you have on deposit in your account, and you can build credit. This is they have made it super simple for people to participate here. And we're also in a place where a lot of Airbnb is getting hammered in a lot of different states and a lot of different provinces in Canada. There's lots of rules and regulations. We're not dealing with that here. You know what I mean? Like this, we don't have those issues here. So, you have to understand we're a tourist destination, so we can't have issues with that.
Okay, so that's good. And so now I just want you to tell the audience, what is your ultimate goal? Like earlier, you said that you want to change people's perspective, like how they think. So with you stepping out and so how do you think it will help others to not purchase in their backyard and to look abroad?
There's a guy, and I encourage everybody to take a look at his channel it's called The Nomad Capitalist. It says, go where you're treated best. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you saw somebody in an abusive relationship, what's your advice to the person? Leave, find somebody else. Somebody else will value you. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's no different than when it comes to your money. Why do you think, okay, just give you an example. In Canada, our previous finance minister from years back, Paul Martin, his businesses weren't even registered in Canada. They were all offshore. You know what I mean? So it's facts. So no, because they understand that who wants to pay more taxes than they need to. And then, and what they're doing with our money is ridiculous. You know what I mean? So if they're putting it all towards a good cause, but with all the nonsense that we're seeing in the world today, you want to contribute to that? At the end of the day, I have no problem paying taxes, by the way. Just to be clear, I have no problem. We need safety. We need police. We need nurses and doctors. We need safe roads. We need safe communities. I have no problem contributing to that. So some people say, I don't want to pay no tax. I have no problem paying taxes in an environment that serves me. But the way I felt about it was that, when you're a kid and your parent tells you to go get the belt, you know what I mean? So you have to go pick up the instrument of your execution, right? What our governments are making us do is go buy the belt. And then so I can come with you with it. That's the way we're being treated. So you need to go where you're treated best. And there's a lot of countries that are on the come up that are developing. This is not a third world country. This is a developing country. One of the things that makes Dominican Republic so amazing is that, for example, there's 11 million people in this country, by the way, 11 million, 10 million tourists last year, 10 million, 500,000 expats live here. 500,000 expats live here. Now, if you go down Santo Domingo, the capital city, which is about 3.5 hour drive from where I am, it's a cross kind of in between Miami and Toronto. I stay in the area called Piantini. That place is nice. And they got nice restaurant. It's a vibe. It's a really nice, nice. You know what I mean? And, so it's like the business district, which is where for me personally, that's where I would go. You know what I mean? incredible. Like, so if they have a major city that has everything you want. You got movies in English. You got, you know, you got bowling alley and go-kart tracks and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And, you know, so you got major city. You have another major city called Santiago, which is Santo Domingo is more international. Santiago is more Dominican. You know what I mean? So it's largely like a Dominican presence there. Now that's another major city, fantastic city. Then you got there's some major beaches, like you've got Samana, you've got Cabarete, you've got Sosua, there's a lot of great beaches around, and then Punta Cana, which everybody knows, but Punta Cana is a resort town. So if you're looking for a resort to go to on a budget, Punta Cana is your spot. You know what I mean? Because it's way cheaper than Jamaica. Like when I was in Jamaica for my birthday 2 years ago, and I stayed at the S Hotel, and that was like I think it was what I paid like $700 a night. That same, you can get the same room or better, I guess, and on better facilities, in my opinion, I guess, for $300 a night. Yeah, it's no joke, for real. You know what I mean? So it's like, so your dollar goes way further, further here, like way. So it's and by the way, I love Jamaica, by the way. So I'm a Jamaican. I Jamaica's like home away from home for me. I was there for 6 months. I think I'm more Jamaican than a lot of you. I love Jamaica, but you know, my family's from Trinidad and Guyana, so they'll be like, "What are you talking about?" But Jamaica is like home away from home for me. But the facts are facts. The prices are outrageous in comparison. You know what I mean? Like to what they are here. And Costa Rica and Panama, they're both more expensive than being here. So this is one of the most cost-effective developing countries that you can find in the Caribbean, period. You know, for investing. So yeah, so for your people, and again, 647-308-6635, hit me up on WhatsApp. Or you can email me Noel at w2qbeachfront.com, Noel at w2qbeachfront.com. And some people have asked, where did W2Q come from? My last name is Walrond. My business partner, Henry, last name is Williams. So the 2 W's is W2. And then the Q is the builder that we partnered with, Falcon Construction. And we partnered with a builder here because we did not want to make mistakes based on inexperience in this market. So we found a builder who actually has 2 completed projects in Puerto Plata, one in a gated community. It's all on the website. So if you go onto my website and go under team, you'll see the whole team. You'll see Luis Mata, who's our partner, and you'll see the finished product. Because one of the biggest concerns people have is, will the building get done? Will it get complete? You know, even back home in Toronto, you got people in litigation because properties haven't been finished. You know, like this, you got all kinds of issues like that. So that's not just a developing world problem; it's a worldwide problem with developers or builders who don't manage money and resources properly. So so our builder, Luis, and on their team, you'll see a video of him talking and sharing his experience and how long they've been in business. You know, so it's all on the w2qbeachfront.com website. You can also reach us through the website as well. You know, so being here and partnering with a builder who knows what they're doing and has a great pedigree. He's also on the board of tourism for Puerto Plata. So very well connected person. You know, he knows the terrain. So we want to make certain that we've combined a best of the best scenario, for investors. So the final thing I'll say of this in particular this investment, and then I guess we could just talk in general about financial awareness and growth. When people are looking at buying, let's just say, for example, there was a unit that was like $250,000, $270,000. You don't have all that money on your own, although there is a payment schedule over the course of a year, and there is unsecured financing available. So hit me up and ask me about that. I have unsecured financing available for Americans. Sorry if you're watching this here in other parts of the world. I'm sorry, it's only for Americans. I wish it was for Canadians too, believe me, because a lot of my friends are kind of upset that we don't have it for them, but it is what it is. So but you don't always have to do these things on your own. If you have friends, family, colleagues, associates, groups you're part of, and say, hey, look, I have 50 grand. You got 50 grand. This person has 50 grand. Let's put our money together and let's do something. Let's make something happen. Just paper it up properly, just to get the lawyers involved, make certain that it's all papered properly, and that you're protected. But that's how a lot of investment firms start, by just a couple of people coming together and getting one. And then they take the earnings from that and then they buy others. And then next thing you know, they're buying communities and complexes and all that kind of stuff. It just is just a matter of time. And the truth be told, right now, for those of you sitting with a lot of money just sitting in your bank because you're afraid of participating in the market, you got to be careful about how much money you have sitting on deposit in the banks, because I don't want to get into, because I don't want people thinking that I'm fear mongering. I would just say this: the money that you have sitting on those bank accounts, that's an unsecured loan to the bank. Unsecured loan to the bank. Some people say, well, they cover you at up to $200,000. Here's a question for you: Could the insurance company, that FDIC insurance, like this, that all of our accounts are supposed to be insured by, like this, do you honestly believe that if there was a financial catastrophe and they had to cover even 50% of the population of the United States or Canada, that they could cover it? Where's the money coming from? So you can say whatever you want to say, but if you just take a look at Cyprus in Greece, when when they had a collapse there, go and check it out. Don't listen to me. Go. It takes 2 seconds on YouTube. Check it out. Just put in Cyprus. What happened? What happened to people's bank accounts? What happened? And there's something called, everybody needs to go and read on something called the bail-in. And for the United States, our brother, Mr. Obama, signed it into law. Go and check out what bail-ins mean, where the banks are concerned, and see how safe your money really is.
And what did you call it?
Bail-in.
Bail-in, not bail-out, bail-ins. And and for all my Canadian friends, go look that up, because Mr. Trudeau, like this, sign that in. Like this, and go and see just how safe everything really is. If there has ever been a warning that I would share, and I'm just saying this is just a public service announcement, you need to have any large amounts of money, you're better off having it and this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, for the people that I know, better off having it large sums of money sitting in, if you don't have a safe or a different place you'd want to put it, to hold on to it yourself, then there are gold and silver broker dealers that are registered and insured. You know what I mean? You're better off having it sitting in gold or silver outside of the banks, and do the same thing that the old settlers used to do. Remember old settlers, what they used to do? Dig a hole in their backyard and put their money. That's what they did. That was your bank. That's how it used to be. Now we're trusting these banks that aren't even meeting their minimum reserve requirements overnight for overnight lending. They're not even meeting their minimum reserve requirements. It's a scary situation, man. And all it's going to take is one little hiccup. You've already seen it with SVB Bank and Credit Suisse, I guess, and watch and see what happens over the course of this next 2 years. The Great Reset, at the World Economic Forum, they talked about it for a reason. And if you actually read like this and actually go and check it out for yourself, I'm not talking about listening to pundits, listening to me or the Money Talks crew. I'm talking about going and reading for yourself what they have put in public publications. It's public consumption. It's public. It's been made public. It's not a secret. They're telling you directly what they're doing. You know what I mean? What's coming. You need to have your money in gold, silver, real estate, and Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like this, and according to the experts that I have followed, and based on my assessment, in my opinion, that's where, in my mind, where money really ought to be. So a real estate deal like ours is an intelligent thing to do with your money. It's better off there than in a bank account, and you're not getting no returns in your bank account. And how secure is it really? There's actually, if you go on YouTube and put in secret conversation at, was it the FDIC? FDIC is your insuring body in the United States, right?
Yes.
There was a secret conversation where members caught on tape talking about if there was a collapse, what would happen. Just type that in and just see what comes up. You know what I mean? Like this, it's on video. Now, I don't know if it's been scrubbed yet, but I mean, I watched it, pass it out to everybody that I knew, and I was like, oh, really? So let's hope it never happens. But if a day ever happened where you went to your bank machine and couldn't get money out, you go to your bank and the doors are closed. It's happened in China recently. Like this, I mean, Google it. Like this, China bank, people losing their deposits. Google it, look it up, and see if what I'm saying is the truth. So I'm saying, that you really need to start to maybe play a little less music and put on something that's going to actually help to build you. One of my mentors said that the diameter of your thinking dictates the circumference of your activity. You can't function outside of that which you know. And the truth is that nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. That's your responsibility. It is not the government's job to find you a job. It is not the government's job to make you rich. That's your job.
Amen.
That's right.
And it's your job to be financially literate. And somebody says, well, where do I start? Because there was a time I was bankrupt personally. There was a time when I didn't know where my bills were coming from. Do I got to cut it soon? Am I running low on time?
Keep going. We're on time.
Okay. And so there was a time that I was financially bankrupt. After having made a lot of money, I lost everything because I was spending, and I was buying the bottles. Take 5 people to Cancun. Saw me. I'll make it back next week. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was me doing that stupid stuff. And then didn't understand how taxes worked, and got a letter from the Revenue Canada telling me that I owed more money than I had. You know what I mean? Because we ran into one client that didn't pay us. We had to front money for our staff and our teams, our direct sales company, like this. And your people got to get paid, whether you make a dime. If you run a business, your people have to be paid, or you got problems like this. And then watching your account go like this. It could happen like COVID's wiped out. How many people do you know had lost a business through COVID? It doesn't have to be that. I'm just saying, like, anything can happen.
That's true.
The true definition of risk is having one income stream today. That's the true definition of risk. People say it's risky to get invested. It's risky not to do something. You're losing money. If your investment does not pay you over 10% return, you're losing money just based on inflation.
Wow.
If you have your money sitting in mutual funds, go check out your MER, the management expense ratio. Then look at how much taxes you have to pay on that money. And then you look at inflation. And then you look at how much money, what's your net return on your investment. They call it negative returns. It means you're so so we're on the Money Talk show. So I guess so at the end of the day, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that matters. You know what I mean? Like this. And again, how much you keep, how much harder can that money start working for you? If you don't begin to learn, you are going to be like the sheep going to the slaughter. And it is what it is. And in humanity, just like as it is for any organism that doesn't adapt to a changing environment will cease to exist. That's just fact. You know what I mean? And so we have to become adaptable. I didn't understand numbers at one point, and Dennis G, I'll just leave you with this. This will be my last point. When I was dead broke and I needed somebody to talk to, and Dennis, this old Italian guy, God bless him. We went to meet at a Tim Hortons. This is after me making $5,000 and $10,000 and $20,000 in a week, losing everything. Okay, like this, losing everything. And we're sitting down, and he says to me, well, in his voice, he says, so first of all, Noel, you have a nice car outside, but you have no money. Like, what are you doing? He says, get rid of that car. Go buy a little beater, 2 tones, blue and rust. Just get a little beater, cash. You know what I mean? Like this. And I'm like, remember, I just finished driving the High Life, and now it's embarrassing, right? To show people that you're going backwards, right? And I know somebody, I hope this is helping somebody who's watching us like this, right? But pride goeth before destruction. So, and so he said, I said, how would I attract a new woman into my life? Because I had just been divorced, I lost my marriage, everything. It was a mess. It was a mess, and so he said, if she won't drive in your beater, she shouldn't drive in your Beamer either.
Ew!
There it is.
I like that.
Huh?
Say that again.
Good advice.
If you won't drive in your beater, you don't want her in your Beamer either. All right, like this. And then he said to me, he says, Noel, you eat out a lot. He says, that's for people who are winning. He says, you're losing. And for people who are losing, you go home and cook. And then you pack a lunch. And inside the back of your car, when you get out you put a cooler in your trunk and you eat from that. That's what you do. You don't go to a restaurant. Restaurants, he says, if somebody has a private chef, which is basically what a restaurant is, you have a chef that's making things for you. And there are people waiting on you. That's servants. That's people, are you getting, like, it's a luxury. You know what I mean? You don't do that when you're struggling. No. And then he said, well, move back home to your mom's house. I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, what?
No.
I said, Dennis, I'm a grown man. What are you talking about? And I'll tell you exactly what he said. I don't know what culture your audience is who's watching this, but I'm just going to say it to you. Tell what he said to me. He says, you see, Noella, this is what's so wrong with you and your people. You'd rather go and give the money to a stranger than give it to your family. Go back. He said, go back to your mom's house and go help her with that rent. Like he said, that house is yours too. It's yours next. You know what I mean? Like this, and he said, go back home. You have to stop the bleeding. Go back home. You know what I mean? Like this, you got to stop these expenses that you can't afford. You got to stop this. Then I want you to get a job, a sales job, but with the base salary. He said, he said, when you're stressed, it's hard to sell because people will feel that from you. You need to, you need to center yourself and get that good feeling again of having an income that's regular. So I went and got a job over at Family Fitness, selling gym memberships. This is after running a direct sales company, training salespeople to go out. You understand? And now I'm a sales guy, having a sales manager over me. Like this is humble pie to the 100th degree. But it was necessary. It was a necessary medicine. But then as I started financially getting back on my feet, now I was with a clearer head and I could look at maybe going to pursue something different. Because what happens otherwise, when you're stressed and you're trying to make things happen, you end up in quicksand. The harder you fight, the faster you sink. You know what I mean? Like this, and you have to stop fighting. You need to chill. You need to stop. You need to pause for a minute, stabilize yourself like this, and then now start looking at once you start generating from a stable income, you can whether it's a commission job with sales, so you can make some extra money, or it's a job, and then you have a side hustle on the side in which you're generating income extra on the side. You said that you need to learn to live on a third of your income. You know what I mean? A third. If you can't live on a third of your income, you're living beyond your means. You said if any company was living beyond, if a company is living off of it's 100% of what it earns, what's coming in, that company's not going to be around long because all it takes is 1 or 2 bad months and you're in trouble, right? Like this, you have to treat yourself like a corporation, which is why with my students in my coaching classes, we have to fill out something called a U Inc. binder. You start treating yourself like a business. You incorporated. You now start looking at tracking your expenses and you start looking at, well, what am I actually putting this money in? Is it an expenditure or an investment? An expenditure is something that doesn't provide any value beyond the entertainment value of it or like. An investment means you're getting a return of some kind. You know what I mean? Like this, there's some kind of return that's coming back to you. And so when Dennis told me I live on a third of my income, I had to do a lot of slashing, but within 2 years, I moved into a 2,800 square foot house. You know what I mean? And my daughter and I, because I have a daughter, who is now 26, but she was a lot younger back then, but after sleeping on mattresses and that kind, it wasn't even a mattress, it was 2 quilts stacked on top of each other and pillows. You know what I mean? I said, we camping, sweetheart.
That's what y'all were doing.
So what happened? So and for people who can't go back home, you can move into a 1-bedroom. You can rent out a room inside of a house instead of renting out an entire apartment and share amenities and get those whatever you have to do to get finances under control so that you can start putting yourself in a position where you can invest and put like that is the suggestion I have for you. So whether you choose to participate with us with W2Q, I would strongly advise that we've only got 29 units left. Once that project is done, it is done. And then we'll be moving on to some other things. Whether you ever participate with us or not, I really hope you got massive value from what I'm sharing with you, because I would tell you, bankruptcy is painful. And it puts strains on relationships. I learned that romance with no finance can be a nuisance, you know what I mean? And it's like, you need to get financial health in order. There's some of us who spend an awful lot of time, I'm a believer in God, but God does not expect you to be in church 7 days a week and you're broke. He expects you to get your house in order, and so that you can be a better blessing to others who are there, and broke can't help broke in any substantial way. So if you're serious about wanting to help people in a serious way, the best way to serve them is not by being broke. It's by getting rich, and so that you can be a philanthropist and you can give from what you've got. But the best place to be able to give from is from your investment money, the returns you're getting, because that's not money that you're trading your time for dollars for. And the last thing I will say is this. This is not a test run. Our lives are, time is not, money is not the most valuable thing, time is. And what I've been trying to do, working on with all this investing I'm doing, is getting my time back. And it's getting time back. It's not to be a slave to money. It's to go out and hopefully make a difference and help people build a legacy. And none of us know when our time is going to be up. That's why time is so valuable. So for those people who are waiting on tomorrow, you're not guaranteed tonight. Forget about tomorrow. So like I said, people left home today who aren't returning home, who had no idea that they weren't returning home. None of us know when God is going to call us home. But at the end of the day, you want to know that when God asks you about with all the talents that he gave you, what did you do with it? What did you create with that time? Were you just busy watching TV? Were you just busy, just hanging out, partying? What were you busy doing? Gossiping, talking politics? Whether Donald Trump wins or Kamala Harris wins, because at this point, the election hasn't happened yet. I guess maybe it'll have happened by the time this airs. You need to be able to make money regardless of who's in office. It shouldn't matter who's in office, because your personal economy is the one that matters, not the economy of the country. You know what I mean? Like this, and like this, you need to be able to make money in any marketplace. And that's when you got something good. So, so this is Money Talks. We're talking about money and making certain that you become a better steward of what God has blessed you with. So for those of us living in North America, you could have been born in Calcutta, India. You could have been born in the slum. Like some people say, well, I live in the ghetto. Go to India and then talk to me about a ghetto. Go to the favelas in Brazil, then talk to me about a ghetto. Come to the shanty towns here in the Dominican Republic and then tell me about ghetto. You don't know nothing about ghetto. You have electricity. You got indoor plumbing. You can go to a grocery store and get food. You can get food stamps. Where are they getting that here? Come on. By global standards, even if you are as broke as they come in the United States, you are living better than a better part of the population of the planet. And just by virtue of sperm lottery, you happen to end up there with the opportunities that you have. To whom much is given, much is required. And I think that, we have to remember that what God has given us, it's a blessing and an opportunity, and it's a blessing because it was unearned. We were just given it. Yes. And I think that we disrespect our Creator when we don't take the time to grow. He's given all living things 2 commandments: live and grow. And tonight is about growth. So I really hope you grew from this conversation that we're having tonight. You got some ideas that can help you get going. My YouTube channel, if you want to tune in, is Noel G. Walrond. That's WALROND, NOEL, the letter G, and Walrond, WALROND. Hit me up again on my cell phone. For those people who are interested in looking at condos, we do have a payment plan, so you don't have to pay all the money up front. There are payment plans, and we also have financing available, in particular for people in the United States. 647-308-6635. Hit me up on WhatsApp, and or our website is w2qbeachfront.com. That's w2qbeachfront.com, and my email is noel@w2qbeachfront.com.
Right.
This has
been great, Noel. We want to thank you.
Yeah, this was very touching.
This has been very, very powerful. So our hope is that when people watch this content, that it will impact their lives to want to make a change if they ain't already in that process of making a change. Because this right here,
it's been powerful. And then if we do have someone that's sitting on a pile of money that's not working for them, hopefully they'll reach out to you and you can help them grow their money.
Yes.
And by the way, if it's not you personally, whoever's watching this, who has the money, but you know somebody else who you think this could benefit, we can get you on the financial literacy, because we will pay for commissions for the referral. Not a problem. And we're happy to write those. Well, we're happy to send those bank wires. So if you know somebody who you think could benefit from what we've got, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your friends, your family, associates, people at work, and you're like, you know what, maybe we can put some things together. We can figure something out. I would love to be either your beginning of that journey, or for those people who are already seasoned investors, we can have a talk, because we have I apologize. Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
With our project, we have assignments available. So if you, let's just say, for example, somebody bought a unit, and they just wanted to land bank, and they weren't interested in closing the unit and getting the cash flow. They just want to get their money to make more returns, because we are anticipating 40% over the 2 years. You can buy a unit, or some people are buying multiple units, like 3 or 4. Because some people have like $500,000, $1 million sitting in their house, and they're like, you know what, it's just burning, sitting there, and inflation is eating it up every day, that purchasing power. So I want to put it someplace. Okay, great. Well, you could pick up a couple units, close one or two, and then cash out the rest prior to closing. And I guess and get a strong return on that money. So you can land bank with us as well. That's another opportunity that's implicit in what we're doing as well. So whatever direction somebody plans to go, we'd love to welcome you to W2Q family.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Noel.
All right, we'll close them out, boo.
Okay, well, we have enjoyed you. Thank you so much for blessing us with all this information that you provided. You've even enlightened us in many areas. And so we look forward to having you back on Bartelle's Money Talk again in the future.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Love to come back. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Noel.
You're welcome.